Now, we could question why this story has not been more publicized, but I think we all know the answer.
The internet has become the dominant tool that traffickers use to recruit victims. And they often recruit them on a number of very common social networking websites. Facebook overwhelmingly is used by traffickers to recruit victims in active sex trafficking cases. They're by far the largest platform cited in the cases that we looked at. 59% of those cases involved recruitment from Facebook. Instagram was next with 13%. And then WeChat with 9% and Snapchat at 7%. So this is becoming the dominant tool that traffickers are using to recruit victims, as reflected in the case data that we see.
Welcome to Unifier TV, where truth has no fear. Back in 2021, Facebook was found liable for human trafficking that occurred on their site. Texas Supreme Court said that Facebook is not just hands off and has no blame in the trafficking that takes place on Facebook. Well, actually, what makes it worse is, come to find out, according to a 2020 human trafficking report, Facebook actually accounted for the majority of the trafficking that took place in the year of 2020. That was just 2020. So where do you think things are now with this whole meta thing that they have rolling out with these fascinating cartoons and graphics? Now, it's not just geared towards children, but children would undoubtedly find that fascinating to look at. So where do you think things are now? Knowing that Facebook is tied in with WhatsApp and Instagram and God knows what else, 4.3 million of those children between the ages of 11 and 15 have an Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat account. And according to a 2020 study, Facebook accounted for the majority of the trafficking that took place that year. Where do you think things are now? This is why I urge you parents to stop posting your children on your social media pages. I see it all the time. You see parents that post their children with their certificates, has their full name on it, and the school that they go to. So what do you think these perverts are thinking? I know exactly where to find this kid, and I know their name. So if you're not teaching about stranger danger, and these schools aren't keeping up with who's picking up whom, if you give a name and say, I'm this kid's uncle, what do you think is going to happen? The kid comes outside and they're gone. This is something that we don't think about nearly often enough. It happens every day. It happens on a much larger scale than what's publicized. It's not just happening at our borders where the migrants are coming in and these kids are being trafficked. It's happening in our own backyards.
So we have to move away from the idea that this is mostly foreign nationals being moved across borders. And then the rise of online solicitation is also a big theme. So not only are traffickers recruiting online, but they're also connecting with purchasers of commercial sex online. So online platforms have really moved up the chain overwhelmingly over the last 20 years as method that traffickers use not only to recruit victims, but to solicit customers.
We are not paying enough attention to this, and it's on social media. It's all over social media. It happens all the time. You see these perverts that get into these girls' messages, or boys for that matter. They'll get into boys' messages too. It's not about gender. Traffickers don't care. If they can make a profit off of you, they will. They get into these children's messages, send them provocative photos, or try to wow them with opportunities. Oh, you want to model, you want to be in the music, you want to do this and that. Next thing you know, they have taken advantage of your child. They may be sending them money. And that's another problem. These apps that have been created nowadays for kids to manage their own money, that could be dangerous, especially if they have people sending them money without the parents knowing anything about it. I don't want to hear anything about privacy. I don't want to hear anything about being their own person, growing up. They grow up when they move out. And even then, you have to still guide them. But when they're in your house, under your roof, you have to be in their business. You have to know what's going on. You cannot just think, okay, I have to let them grow. You got to be smarter about what you're putting on social media because these perverts are undoubtedly watching your every move. Many victims have come forth and spoken about how they were trafficked through the use of Facebook and other social media apps that Facebook manages. So they have actually spoken out and said themselves that they feel like Facebook has benefited from the exploitation of them being children and being trafficked. It's very incredible to me how these reports keep coming out about how Facebook has a lack of control and can't seem to get a handle on these trafficking victims and these predators that are using their accounts to do these things. They just can't seem to get a handle on it. It's incredible to me how Facebook can pick out certain words, but if you post that word once, or if you say those words one time, those hot words, your account is compromised, but you can't figure out how to get a hold on these traffickers. So parents, we have to do our part because they are not fighting for us. There are people who are fighting for us, though. You have places like Operation Underground Railroad, the Deliver Fund. You have excellent organizations. You have heroes like Victor Avila. You have people out there who are doing their diligence to help these children out there all over the world. Let's be careful. Let's be smart about what we're doing and what we're allowing ourselves to be exposed to online. Protect the children.